Welcome back to the hCG Diet Interviews with Everyday People. I have Thomas with me today. I have another guy to interview. I have a really hard time finding men that will take the time out of their schedule to share their hCG journey, but it's really helpful when we can do that because this protocol works so well for men. They lose so well on it, and we'll talk with Thomas and some even health complications that he's had, and just how hCG has been such a benefit to him as a result. So welcome, Thomas.
Hi.
So why don't we just get into talking about like your basic stats as far as like your age and height, and then how much weight you've lost with hCG.
Okay. Well, I used to be 6'3", now I'm 6'2", due to my age. I'm almost 40. I'm 39 years old, and I just, when I read about the HGC diet, I think it fit me perfectly, and it really did.
That's
It
great.
worked.
How much weight have you lost with the protocol?
I'm going to be accurate.
Yeah, go ahead and look at your stats.
I started, well, 278, so I was 278, 279, it depends on the minute.
Sure.
Um, and from that, I went down to 236. Actually, it says 232/236. It depended where the scale was on the floor.
Sure, gotcha. So 279-ish to 232, so about 47 pounds or so.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. And now was that in one round or two rounds or?
2 rounds, 60 days. But I also did the Lipotropics, and I had the B12 mixed into the shots.
Gotcha.
And
How
I
did
think
you
that's
feel? I mean, it might be hard to like say since like you just had it with that and you didn't have it without, but do you feel like the B12 or the lipo like was beneficial to you? Do you have an opinion on that?
You know what? It's funny you say that because I actually tested it out. It's going to sound silly, but I tested it out with alcohol because lipo makes your liver work better.
Yeah.
And you have to understand how your body works, and if you understand how your body works, you can play with it. So I had a few drinks, and I know how I feel the day after without taking the lipo.
Yeah.
With the lipo, I was like, what drinks? I felt like I was like 16 years old. Well, I didn't drink when I was 16, but you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
but right.
Yeah. So
Oh, fascinating. You mean, so was that on
incredible.
P2 or just in regular life as an experiment?
Well, I just tried it
Yeah.
for the heck of it, That's all.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
that's
very
really
interesting
fascinating. So
because
you do feel like the ingredients then kind of made a difference in how your
it,
body processed that.
it absolutely made a huge difference.
Oh, thank
And
you
I
for
was,
sharing that.
sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to do that,
No,
but
it's fine.
I actually I really stuck to the diet because I felt it was, if you're going to do this, you should really focus on your diet. So I followed the rules, and realistically, all joking aside, every night for 60 days, I had a 3.5 piece of chicken breast, which I made on my stove with broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. That's what I had for about 60 days, twice a day.
Oh, this is really
I
cool
kept I
to
kept it
hear.
simple.
Yeah, no, you did. And sometimes it's nice to do that because, as you know, there's hardly any food on the diet. It's like the volume is so tiny. It's like you don't want to necessarily spend a lot of time making anything too gourmet, when this is like the purpose of it is just for weight loss.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I cheated, but when I cheated, my cheating usually was some extra vegetables, a little bit of extra protein. I think 2 times or 3 times I was like, that's it, I'm just really gonna cheat tonight, and I had like a slice of pizza. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is good. This is good to hear because, it's like I love to give people an accurate, realistic picture of each person's journey that they go through and so they can see the results. Because sometimes what happens is, um, when you're in this alone, you do this and then you think like maybe if you cheat one day that you've just ruined everything. So it's helpful to see a
You don't.
person that's like, okay, ideally you're trying to avoid cheating, but I cheated on the protocol too. So like we all have those days and you can come back from it and recover and it's not the end of the world and it doesn't have to derail your whole journey. So,
No.
that's good to hear. So you did 2 rounds. Was each round 60 days or was it 60 days total?
I did 60 days total with
Total.
Rejuve Medical,
Gotcha.
and
They're one of the companies on my blog, you guys, so I'll put a link to Rejuvi's hCG kits in the show notes for you guys. So you
and
lost
they've been
47
awesome.
pounds-ish in 60 days, which is fantastic. Yeah, and it is true, honestly, you guys, women just don't get jealous because we typically do not lose that much. And it makes sense, really, because Thomas, you're 6'3", 6'2".
Now,
And you weigh more being taller, and men have a lot more muscle mass for their frame size than women do. That's just how we're genetically built. And because of that, you guys have a higher resting metabolic rate than we do. So it's just how it is. So gotta get over it. But for guys out there, I just think it's encouraging to know like how much progress can be made. Literally, that was only 2 months of your time, and you were down almost 50 pounds. You
oh,
know,
and you know what? The best part about it was hearing from my family, like, "Oh my God, you look so amazing." I'm like, "Thank you."
thanks, awesome.
And being a guy and having your pride and stuff, it's always wonderful to hear compliments.
Yeah, for
Come
sure.
on.
Yeah. Now, how do you know how your size changed? Like as far as like maybe your waist size or your shirt sizes and stuff?
Oh yeah, I went from a extra extra large to extra large. That's how I went. Basically, clothes from 15 years ago fit on me, so I'm a happy man.
That is fantastic. That's great. And how long, you mentioned earlier before in our pre-interview chat that you have some health things that you've been through,
Yeah,
which kind
I've
of
had.
affected your ability to maybe caused some of the weight gain or made it difficult to lose weight. You want to share that?
Yep, the I've had two major accidents in my life. I've had 50 surgeries. I've shattered everything from my feet, from my pelvis down, including my pelvis. I've been in coma. I've been through it all. And basically, my weight gain was due to me not being able to walk, not being able to be mobile. So I figured that this was the best way for me to lose weight because I don't want to starve myself. I don't want to not eat, but I also would like to lose some weight. And this was the best in between. And I have just praise to say about it. It works. If you follow the rules, if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to have awesome results.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. How long would you say, like your weight gain, was it like a gradual thing over time,
Yes,
or was it
it
kind of
was. It was hospital stays, not being able to walk. So it was from like 0 to 7 years. It was like a plateau that went up. And it's just like eating, not being able to walk, bedridden. Eating, not being able to walk, bedridden. So, you do the best you can.
Of
You
course,
try
yeah,
to stay healthy, but
yeah. No, it's hard when there's that many
life
limits. You said you've had like 50 surgeries, right?
is
Like,
on the money, 50. Life takes its toll. And when it takes its toll, it does.
yeah, my gosh, that's crazy. When you were doing on P2 for the 60 days, I don't know if you tracked your calories or if you just stuck with like small portions. Did you happen to track your calories or do you know how many you were eating?
Well, I tried to stick between the 500 and 850 calories
Yeah,
per meal twice
gotcha.
a day, and I did in the beginning, but once you get into the repetition of eating the same thing every day for 60 days, you kind of just stick with it.
Of course, yeah, no, of
So
course.
I just paid attention to the scale and my
Yeah,
diet,
yeah.
and I just did my thing.
Yeah, that's great. So you were doing around between 500 and 850 per day, is that right? Not per meal.
Yes.
So, what dosage of hCG did you end up taking that felt good for you? Do you know?
Wow, it's been like so long now. I think I took what 1.5 in the morning. Could I be
Okay.
wrong? Does that sound
If
right
you
to you?
did like 15 units or yeah, like 0.15, that would be 150 IU, which sounds like that could be it.
I think that's what it was. It's
Okay.
just been so long. This was in August, and now it's January, so.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah, I just like to ask, especially men, because sometimes the dosage that works best for men can be different. Um, So yeah, if you did 0.15 or 15 units, that would be 150 IU. And that is a general dosage that works for a lot of people. Did you
Yeah.
feel, so you're eating the 500 to 850 a day or so, how did you feel hunger-wise? Because you're a big guy, so like to eat that little, like normally
It
there should
it
be,
was
yeah,
it was really bad. But as long as I noticed, as long as I kept my mind and me busy,
yeah,
it wasn't that bad. You
gotcha.
know, the first week, 2 weeks are tough, but
Yes,
once you get into that whole thing, I mean, you've done it, so you
yeah,
understand. It
yeah,
gets easier, and then
right,
repetition is the key.
right, gotcha. I'm curious, did you ever think about adjusting your dosage since you were having some hunger? Did you ever think of that or just
I I
at the
didn't
time didn't know
know that.
about it?
I didn't really know much about it. I was
Gotcha.
just like, this is working for me, so let's keep doing this and
Yeah, cool. Well, that's
keep
neat
it
that you made
simple.
it work regardless. I am curious if you ever were on it again, I'm curious if having a slightly higher dosage for you might have actually fixed your hunger a little bit. I'm curious about that, you know?
I'm actually thinking about, well, my girlfriend doesn't recommend it, but I'm thinking about in the springtime doing another 30-day cycle just
Yeah,
to see my results.
right.
I probably will do it.
That's between you two. But anyway, I was just curious because for a lot of men, like taller men like yourself, sometimes a higher dosing of more like 175 to 200 IUs, just for any other guys out there listening, can be more of like the dosing. And remember, I'm not a medical professional, you guys, so this is just the opinion of a completely like non-professional person.
But
So
the
I mean,
funny thing is, I think your opinion is worth more than medical professionals because you deal with this more than they do.
thank you. Thank you very much. But yeah, it's at least it's something you guys to check into because dosage usually hunger on hCG is fixable by changing your dosage, and I'll have a link to that article that I have on my blog in the show notes. Or if you're just listening, it's just hcgchica.com/dosage. That's all it is. And but that's an important part of not feeling hungry. But you
Just,
know, oh, go
just eat
ahead.
a little extra vegetables, that's all.
Yeah, because you can make it work. Yeah. So, and also, I thought it was interesting because I don't know if you know this, but right now we have a brand new site up. It's a P2 recipe site. It's hcgchicarecipes.com, and we're adding a lot of stuff to it. But the thing about it is that there's the original Simeon's protocol, which had a certain list of vegetables and protein and fruits and stuff. And then these days, there a lot of the weight loss clinics and a lot of other HCGers online have started using some other vegetables and other foods on P2 with success. And so they're not on the original protocol, but I myself did that as well. And so I thought it was neat that you shared that you had broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots because those are actually not on the original Simeon's
No,
protocol. And so thanks for sharing that because obviously losing 47 pounds in 60
it
days,
works.
it was fine. So thank you for that because some of the recipes on the P2 recipe site has broccoli and cauliflower and carrots. So I'm curious, do you know like about how much of a serving of like those vegetables you might
Yes,
have?
yes, I had usually. That's where I would cheat with the vegetables. So it calls for 1 cup. Well, they would recommend 1 cup. I would usually have about 1.5 because I didn't think that my vegetables would do much harm.
Yes.
And if I was extra hungry, I just threw a couple extra pieces of cauliflower broccoli in there,
Right.
drank some more water, and that was that.
Gotcha. So like 1.5 cups total for the
Yep,
meal?
per
One
serving,
per serving.
per
Gotcha.
meal.
Gotcha. And then like with the carrots, for instance, so would you have like say just one cup or 1.5 cups of just all carrots?
No, I actually would. I would buy it frozen in the food aisle of my grocery store. Actually, it was
Like the
fresh.
mix.
Well, yes, but they didn't take like it wasn't like processed vegetables. They actually like cut it up, bagged it. It was in a clear bag. That's
Nice.
where I shop. So that's it. Threw it
Awesome.
in the
That's
freezer and thought nothing of it.
very
Put it
cool.
on the stove.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry that I'm asking you like so many like detailed questions. It probably
No, that's
seems
your
like
job.
irrelevant, but yeah, the reason I am asking is because sometimes I'm even guilty of this myself when I was first doing P2. We almost start to attribute like a magic to certain ingredients. like, oh, like this list is magic, and it's like magical, like it's like if I eat this a little carrot, like magically something's going to be horrible in my body and I'm not going to lose weight. You know what I mean? And I actually was guilty of thinking that too. And I've come to realize that that's not really the case, you
I
know?
magically looked at every single list available, and then I took the best pieces of the list.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fantastic. I had like little bits of carrot, you guys, on my final round in salads and stuff, and I had mushrooms and things like that on my P2. And um, I think it's important for you guys out there listening to do what you feel right about and what you're going to feel comfortable with. So,
That's very true.
you know, if like
What
for
you
you,
what you feel is gonna work best for you, that's what works.
yeah, you know, and so it's like in that case, if for you you feel like doing the strict Simeon's protocol is what you need to do with this at this time, like by all means, you're not going to be hurting yourself to do that. But if over time, if you find yourself feeling comfortable with experimenting with some other ingredients, you have people like Thomas and myself and many others who have done that, and it has worked well for us. So you can feel comfortable at least with that idea of trying that out. So yeah, that's really useful. Did you eat mostly just chicken for your protein on P2, or did you have other proteins?
That's it. Chicken breast.
Just
I
the
kept
chicken.
it real simple.
The good old chicken. That's
The
awesome.
good old chicken. Boy, I don't want to see chicken for a while. Well, after the diet, I didn't want to see chicken for quite a while.
I bet. You're
So
like, that's enough of chicken for 2 months.
that definitely was.
So you had two types of a cheat here and there. One type of cheating was that you would have extra veggies or protein when you were hungry,
Yep.
right? With PT, which
Yep.
is a really smart idea. And you guys, that's a wise thing to do. And you don't even necessarily need to think of it as cheating because, like Thomas said, it's like the original protocol was 500 calories or less. There's a lot of protocols now that have you do more like 800 calories. You did somewhere between that depending on the day probably and how hungry you were. So if you're very hungry, I don't know, my personal feeling is that you don't want to be on the diet feeling like starving for too many days in a row like that. I think that's a bad idea, you know? So it's like if you need to eat a little more, you know,
Eat.
yeah, eat a little more because, like you said, having a few extra broccoli florets is not going to ruin everything, you know. So, but sometimes in our heads we can make ourselves feel all guilty about it, and then end up doing something more crazy, like eat a chocolate cake or something.
I mean, what? Yeah. Well, I didn't do that. I mean, I'm not a chocolate kind of person, but
Yeah.
that does sound like a good idea. Me,
Yeah,
if I wanted to cheat, my ideal cheat would be, I don't know, like something fried.
yeah,
But
more savory.
but no,
Now you
I
said,
actually stuck
oh,
to
I'm
it.
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
So you said, so a more out and out cheat. You said you had like a piece of pizza a couple times or something.
Yeah,
on
I
P2?
did. I did have a couple pieces of pizza. I think throughout the whole diet, I had about five.
5 pieces of pizza. And now I'm curious, how did that affect your weight loss on the following day or a couple days after? And did you do anything to try to correct it, or did you just go back to regular P2?
I had an extremely guilty conscience. I did not correct anything. I just kept on with my diet, and everything was fine.
That's cool. That's cool. Did it affect your weight loss at all, or no? Not that you could tell.
Well, I'm pretty sure it didn't help it, but it didn't affect it to the point where numbers freaked me out.
Okay, so you didn't have like a gain or anything.
If I had a gain, I don't think it was significant enough for me to remember.
God, you're like, I blocked it out of my memory. No.
Exactly.
Okay. And that's another thing I can just share, just so that we have a lot of ladies in the audience. I find that men can often get away with a cheat like that here and there without it causing too much trouble. But I don't find that to be the case with women most of the time. So you guys, like for you, like you said, maybe you might have gained 0.2 or maybe just not lost the next day after a cheat, or maybe even you still lost weight. But for a lot of women, like you might be up like 2 pounds. Like, and it's not that it's all fat. It's just, I don't know, partly retaining
It's
water.
stressful
But
seeing the numbers. I mean, I have to look at the scale every morning the same way as you guys do, so
right,
I'm going to be either happy or disappointed. And
right.
it didn't make enough of a difference for me to actually remember it or make a point of it, so
Yeah.
it couldn't have been bad.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's good. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there just so Just for the ladies, like don't get too confident. Like it's best for us to try to not cheat, but guys do seem to get away with it better. So that's too funny. I'm curious with the injections when you did those. Where did you inject your hCG? Do you mind if I ask?
In my belly.
Okay, cool. So the whole time.
Directly in my stomach. Yep. I just right by my belly button. I just made a line and boop, every morning just into my belly.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good location for most people. So.
And once a week, I did it every Monday. Every Monday, I'd have to give myself the Lipotropics shot, and that's directly into the muscle. So I did that into my thigh.
Gotcha. I've actually been kind of intimidated. So you did an intramuscular shot then for those,
Yep.
the lipo and B12. I had one just the other day at my doctor, and it wasn't bad. Like it looks a little bad, but it actually
Yes.
I couldn't hardly feel it.
It's a larger gauge needle, and you look at it, you're like, oh boy. But I mean, it's not so bad. It's
Yeah.
not bad at all. I mean, it doesn't faze me. But then again, I've also had a few medical
You've
issues,
been
so
through a few. Oh, just 50 surgeries. No biggie. Oh my goodness. So, so now you said you did your round in August of 2017?
actually the date was, I think, July 5th is when I started. July or June. No, June 18th was the date I started. June 18th.
Okay.
June 18th, and August 18th was the day I ended. My memory serves me
Or
correct.
60 days later would be. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, so about 2 months, right. So June to August. And now, like you said, and of course, when this interview goes live, it'll be even later. But at the time of our recording right now, it's in middle of January.
After all the holidays and after Thanksgiving and everything, I gained 5 pounds.
That's
So,
not bad at all.
well, I should say I've gained 5 pounds since August. So,
Gotcha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's been actually 5 whole months since you finished hCG. So that's fantastic. And really, like the 5 pounds is not bad because the holidays is really tricky for a lot of people. I know that. So, and 5 pounds is honestly an easy thing to get off on your own even, although I know you said you might be doing another round, but just for you guys out there, if you want some tips on that, I have a blog post I'll link you guys to, and it's about like how to lose 5 to 7 pounds without hCG, and it's something that I've utilized myself, and it's a few different approaches that you can try, just because sometimes if you're kind of happy where you're at with your body, you've gotten to where you want to get with hCG, and then you maybe gain 5 or 6 pounds. Sometimes our first thought is to go back to hCG and do a whole nother round, but for such a small amount of weight, it's just a lot to go through for that, personally, I think, So if there's a way to lose that without going through all of that, again, I think that that's ideal. So I'll link you guys to that post if any of you guys out there are interested in that. It's like, if you have more weight to lose still, then of course it makes sense to do a round, but I'll give that to you guys. Oh, so I haven't asked you about phase 3 yet. How did you approach phase 3? Like the stabilization phase. No starches, no sugars.
well, it's funny because phase 3 was so easy, I don't even remember it. I remember I just
You say
read
low
the
carb.
read the directions, what I was supposed to do, and I did it, and that's it. I don't even. It's funny because phase 3 is a blur. Now that you say it, it really
Yeah.
is. I don't even remember phase 3. It just
Wow.
happened.
It just
Well, it worked.
happened. That's so you probably just ate low carb then, and it was fine.
I remember it was. This is what I mainly remember: how you had to introduce certain foods back to your diet slowly
Yeah.
and see how you do. And that's what I did, but everything went well. So
So it was fine.
yeah, it was fine.
That's great.
It was. I don't remember anything traumatic or anything out of the ordinary. So
Gotcha. That's great. What would you say are like some differences for you now, being about 50 pounds lighter, like being heavier and being lighter, just like in life? What are some differences for you?
the main reason I did it is because I'm only 39 years old and I need a total knee replacement, and I need probably a bilateral, which is 2 knees, both knees replaced. because I've had so many surgeries and I've had so much damage done to my body, I will be able to have one knee replacement successfully, well, hopefully, and I will need another one because a knee replacement only lasts between 15 and 20 years, and I don't
Mm,
plan on dying when I'm 60,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm going to have to make it last. So my doctor's like, do whatever you can in your power to make it easier on your knees.
gotcha.
So, choice one, lose weight. Boom. I
Right.
lost weight, and I feel better, and I'm lighter on my feet, and I see a huge difference. So that was the most important thing.
Gotcha. No, that really makes sense. When you were on P2, did you find it difficult at all to be like with other people while you were on the diet or going out to eat or social gatherings, or was that not a problem for you?
At times it was, but I mean, yeah, actually there was some difficult times. Now I remember. And
Oh, I brought it back.
yeah, because we go out to eat, and I remember once I was like, well, I can't eat, and they only serve this on bread. So I was like, well, give me what you're serving. Give me what you're having. It was like some kind of sandwich, and it was chicken. I was like, well, I'll have it grilled with all the vegetables and stuff. And I was like, give it to me in a wrap. This was my excuse. I always told everybody, put it in a wrap. And when I would eat it, I would literally take the wrap off and eat it best I could. Just use the wrap to hold it together.
Yeah,
And I ate the same thing. I ate a little bit of salad or whatever with chicken breast,
yeah.
and then I got rid of the wrap part. And that's how I did it.
That's great. And that sounds like that worked good. How about like with everyone, like maybe friends and family you were with? Like, how were they understanding, or was that awkward at times? Or
No, not really, because I have a really medically based family, and if I tell them I'm doing something, they will go out of their way to make it easier and better, I guess. I don't know. We
that's
have a
good.
really close family. We all get
Awesome.
along, and
That's so
so
good. That's great. And they've probably seen such good results, from you doing
they were
this.
very skeptical in the beginning, and they were like, "Ah, you're
Sure.
crazy to put hormones in your body. You're out of your
Right.
mind."
Yeah.
Well, I did it, and now they're not really.
Yeah.
My face didn't fall off. My nose is still here. I got two eyes. I mean, so I'm
Yeah.
still the same person.
Yeah, no, I think it's totally normal for our friends and family who love us to be concerned initially, because it is such a different protocol. And for most of us, it takes some time for us to fully research it to decide if we feel like it's a safe, sane thing to do. So, and usually our,
Mhm.
and our friends and family haven't had, the chance to do that. So it's only natural that they might be concerned,
Yes.
So one kind of interesting thing in my research, because, a lot of people think of the hCG hormone as the pregnancy hormone or as a female hormone, but
Yes.
actually, men do produce hCG in very tiny amounts. So it's not like
Well,
it's
if we do, it's hidden somewhere where we can't access it.
yeah, but it's very tiny, tiny amounts. But it's not like it's something that's never in a man's body. It actually is. I did research that online, and so it's just smaller amounts than a woman's. So, and the doses that we take on hCG are very tiny as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's great, and it's neat to see that you've maintained your weight loss. The bulk of it for 5 months now. Um, because that shows that it sounds like it's been pretty easy for you to do that. Like it hasn't
Well,
been a big problem.
I would go as far as saying easy. It wasn't as stressful as I really envisioned it to be, but
Gotcha.
I don't know. The way I see things is if you're going out of your way to make yourself change your body, change the way you are, and you're basically repairing damage you've done over the years, do it and follow the directions. You're going to have a great payoff at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. I'm curious. Did you because a lot of guys don't like to cook. Did you cook? I mean, are you a person who cooks in general life?
Yeah, I do.
So you
I
do.
do a
So
lot of
so
my
that
own
wasn't a big deal
cooking.
for you.
I cooked all my HGC meals myself.
Gotcha. That's cool. Would you say today, now in maintenance, are you eating on an everyday basis a little differently than before your weight loss?
Incredibly differently.
Yeah. What kind
Yeah,
of, I'm curious what you eat now. Like, what do you eat?
the biggest thing, I eat the same thing I always ate, but my portion control is different.
Okay.
I would change. I did do a lot of changes as to um, simple things like toppings and cheese. Like I don't have salad with croutons and cheese. I'll just have salad with a little bit of dressing. Nothing creamy.
Gotcha.
You know, just little things like this add up over a long period of time.
They do. That's really neat that you've put that together because I do think that's actually one of the main keys for maintenance. That's the same for me. Um, you do realize that sometimes a lot of those little extras and then on every meal and then they add up and then that's just enough
Yep.
where it's like that gradual weight gain, but then when you keep that out you're still pretty much having the same food
Yep.
just with a little less of a couple things and and then somehow it works. So
That's right. That's
that's
it.
great. Are you able to have some, because sometimes people wonder, like, do I have to, excuse me, eat low carb forever? Like, are you able to have, some regular food these days and still stay about the same weight?
Yeah, I pretty much eat regular food. I just eat. I, See, I don't know what regular
Like
food.
French
Regular,
fries, for instance.
not very often,
Yeah,
but when I have French fries, I very much so enjoy it.
yeah,
Once every 5 months. I don't really eat fast food like that because
yeah,
I cook for myself,
right.
and I don't know. I take care of myself a different way than I did before the diet.
That's great. That's good. What are some of your favorite, like, meals to eat now, would you say?
Chicken cordon bleu. Chicken
Ooh,
cordon bleu.
oh, nice. That sounds cool. Well, I think we covered a lot here. Are there any other things that you can think of, like that you think are important to doing well on the protocol for others to know, or
Yeah, just don't let what, how should I say this? Because people have these expectations about themselves, and people think they're going to do this, that, and the other thing, and they get disappointed when they do not. So, very simple. Follow the instructions and you will get results. If you do not do that, you're going to not get the results you want. Just stick to it and you'll be happy. It works. It really does.
that's great. No, that's really good advice. I think I completely agree because it seems like sometimes men are a little better at this, at taking the emotion out of it. But I do try to put that out on the blog a lot because I do think, like you said, it's just follow it and try to take out all of that emotion from it because, like you said, if you follow it, you will get results. And when you put too much expectation, it's true, you're kind of setting yourself up to be let down, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And
it doesn't hurt that I'm Eastern European and my family's old school, like Hungarian German. So
just do it. Follow the
yeah,
rules.
they're extremely tough. So
So that's
the way I
good.
was brought up is if you don't succeed, the world's gonna end or whatever. But
Yeah.
I figured out that it doesn't. So I try to succeed
That's awesome. No, that's really good. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Thomas. I really appreciate it.
anytime.
Yeah, no, that was really useful. So, and this will be really good for other guys out there looking to, you know, it's just such an effective protocol. Like so quickly, just in 2 months, bam, my 50 pounds can be gone. You
Oh,
know?
you're telling me it was like an eraser. It was
Yeah.
great.
How did
I
you originally hear about the protocol? I'm curious.
Well, this is a funny story. I actually went to a doctor in Manhattan, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I can make you lose this weight. And I know you have your physical problems." I'm like, "Well, what?" He's like, "I can make you lose 50, 60 pounds." I'm like, "Well, what are you going to do?" He's like, "This thing called hCG." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So I went home, I did my homework, I researched it. I'm like, "Well, why am I going to go to this doctor and give him $2,000 for 30 days twice and then
Wow.
have to go back to him once a week for this checkup and talk to him on the email?" I'm like, "No, no, no. I can do this all myself." So then I started researching. I found you. I read most of the things you wrote, and I was like, "Ooh, why would I go to a doctor? This is easy as cake."
Yeah.
And here I am
Awesome. Wow. So are you serious? It was going to be $2,000 for a 30
for
day
30
round?
days. In Manhattan, I went to the doctor, I don't know if I should tell you his name. You want it?
No, that's okay.
Okay. So yeah, he was like telling me these results and this thing and the cost of it, and I'm like, thanks for the info. I'll just do it myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know I had actually done some checking on pricing of the hCG protocol through different brick and mortar weight loss clinics like across the country because obviously the pricing varies depending on the state and it is true like New York and Connecticut and stuff it's like way more expensive over there than
oh
say
yeah,
like
they like the
Idaho.
price.
Yeah, but I think that's actually some of the highest I've heard. I don't think I had found some that were like $1,000, but yeah, 2,000 for. So you guys, let's
He
not
couldn't
complain
wait for
about our
that.
online sources here, okay? Because you know, hCG is more expensive online than it has been in the past because in the past there was only like overseas hCG that you could get online, right? Now we have US companies, it's US made hCG and compounding pharmacies. But it doesn't cost $30 anymore, you know, because these are medical staff, like they have to get paid US prices to work. It's like, you know what I mean? Like you can't pay a doctor $15 an hour.
I had a full interview. I had a full-on interview with the doctor before I got anything, and
Yeah,
we talked about my condition and everything and all my well, I didn't go into every single surgery, but
sure.
you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
Gave her the
Yeah.
breakdown, and she was like, "Okay, this will work for you, and I'll adjust your numbers." And boop, 3 days later, everything was here, and I started.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. And it's just, yeah, just keep the perspective, you guys, that, you know, if
And you
it's,
have to think of it like this: if you have like high blood pressure or whatever, these things can be cured. If you have diabetes, you could cure your diabetes. It's all about weight. I mean,
yeah.
self-control and weight, that's all it is.
Yeah, it is true. A lot of people end up getting to lower their medication or even get off of it, those types of things that you
You
mentioned.
said it, getting off of it. I was on the lowest dose of blood pressure medication. I don't even take it anymore.
Oh, really? That's really neat to hear. Yeah, it's true. The one thing is like if you have diabetes, usually they do want you to be monitored by like a doctor a little bit more like directly when you do hCG just because what happens is as you lose weight, you end up needing to adjust your diabetes medication down or you'll start feeling not well because you actually end up needing less and you do need to have someone kind of monitoring you for that. So just so you guys know that, but you can get that probably locally, but yeah, it's crazy. So, well, great. Well, thank you so much, Thomas. That was really, really helpful.
Be happy to help.